Ray Moylette, good morning to you. How are you getting on?
Here at the vote of the Limerick jury. How
you obviously are a boxer. Should have been on Mayo's Mount Rushmore. We might get to that in a moment. I can send you Nathan Murphy's home address if you'd like to call around.
I have a vote to pick with Nathan Murphy, but we'll come back to that.
Yeah, okay. Your video is great. I can actually picture myself doing that with the kids and teaching them how to box this afternoon. So what are you doing as an athlete at the moment to try and make sure that you don't have muscle wastage and that you do manage to keep ticking over?
Okay, so I am trying to get a run in every second day, and I'm blessed to have so I have a little personal home gym that I have all year round, but it's actually in Westport, and we share it between a few friends. But since I'm homebound now at the minute, I was able to bring the equipment home. So I'm fairly up-to-date gym with rower, spin bike, kettlebells and barbells and weights. So I'm fairly up-to-date with that. So I'm able to relatively stay in shape, in theory, definitely in theory. And so I try and get a session in once a day, regardless whether it's a run or it's a short weight session. I know no one's going to be killing themselves doing any training at the minute because we don't know when we need to peak. We don't know when we're going to be back. So it's just important, more so for the head. I think the position we're all in at the minute, we're all cooked up at home and no one knows really what's happening. There's no security with anything. So I think just to get a bit of training done, enjoy it, and it's for the head mainly more than anything.
One of the very first pieces that we did was with Andy Dunn, who talked about how hormones are released when you do physical activity. You obviously know this better than anybody. It's like your body is your job as a professional boxer. So from that perspective, do you get the dopamine hits? Do you get the hormones coursing through your veins when you do exercise? And if that is the case, then, you know, times like this, you probably benefit from the dopamine a bit more than the rest of us, even because you kind of need it. You have it every day, all the time.
Well, that's it. Like, you know, professional boxing isn't, you don't do this because you love getting hit in the face and you love the hard training and the struggle on your own. Professional boxing and boxing in general, you get a serious hit from talking about it, from actually physically putting yourself under that strain, from sparring with other opponents and getting the better of them. You know, it's a rush and a hit that you're constantly striving for. So when you don't have it, you have to figure out a way of getting it. So you don't realise how much I do rely on it, or boxers don't realise how much they love it until it's taken away from them. It's been taken away from me for nearly a year and a half now since I haven't been able to fight, but I've been able to find the ordinary or the extraordinary maybe in the more ordinary things. So trying to get up to Dublin sparring and trying to enjoy the gym, I'm starting to love that now, whereas before it was all about the fights. The training was only coming in my way. I just wanted to fight and fight. Whereas I had to pull back the reins a little bit now because I've been so inactive that I had to take the glory out of the training now. So I'm enjoying my training now as well. But it's definitely, I can't, like, after I came back from Boston when everything went shut down overnight, obviously I was very disappointed. I was in, like, I did nothing for a week. I sat down, binged on Netflix, ate my body weight 3 times over, and I wasn't sleeping right, and it's very hard to be able to enjoy anything there and then. So I picked up the toys again, as I said, out of the pram, and I started training every day. And ever since then, now I can see the goodness and everything. And I'm trying to think of new challenges and trying to help other people now and trying to be positive, because every time on the news, it's at the minute it's bad news that's coming. So we need to try and counteract that some way.
Can we just, in case anybody is unfamiliar, you were due to fight for the first time in a long time, and then the fight ended up getting cancelled because of the coronavirus. That's essentially what happened.
That's it. So I was out of the ring a year and a half, and I was geared to come back. This is my second comeback, which the first one didn't go ahead with visa issues. So this one was second, and it was perfectly primed for St. Patrick's weekend in Boston. Sellout show. I was fighting for the New England for the New England region title. I was fighting another Irish guy called Larry Friars, and the day before the weigh-in, the show got pulled due to the coronavirus. So like if it got pulled a week before it, we would have managed it. But I was actually in Boston and I was on weight. And for any boxer that knows, to get down to fighting weight is harder than anything. So it was just pulled at the last minute. But if it was pulled a week, as I said, a week before it, it wouldn't have any effect really on me at all. But just to be so close and for it to be taken away from me, and not knowing when it can be done, not knowing when I can fight again, you know, it's a little bit hard with that. But again, we're all alive and we're still here, and we can figure out other ways to enjoy these days.
Yeah, with that must only add to the actual sense of guilt. So we've been talking to a lot of elite sports people, and they have to be selfish people to get to the point where they put their careers ahead of absolutely everything. And at some level, elite sports people they were able to practice more. They were able to take more pain than the normal population, as well as being more talented. So on top of all that, then you feel like this opportunity which you've worked for the last year and a half gets taken away from you. There has to be a selfish kind of element going, Jesus Christ. While at the same time, the rest of the world is going to shit. And so you have the guilt of feeling selfish in the midst of a global pandemic. It's a more difficult situation, I would argue, than a lot of people who are just getting on with it at this stage.
Well, especially when I came back from Boston, I had to self-isolate. I did 10 days on my own. My wife moved out. She moved out to her home house. And so shit hit the fan, really, when I came home. No one here, everyone gone. And I was feeling sorry for myself. As I said, it took a week. But then I quickly realized when you see the amount of hurt out there in the world coming from this pandemic, and families losing loved ones, and they can't see them, they can't visit them, can't bury them. You know, surely that it puts a fight into context, you know. So I can't be too selfish. Now I am selfish in my own training, but I would never express that. And I think everything is put into perspective now. That a fight is a fight and a sport at the end of the day. And I was looking for that, but if that opportunity doesn't come, or it wasn't able to come that time, I have to figure out other ways of expressing myself.
Yeah, I kind of, the reason I was asking about that selfishness was because I wanted to ask that question where you talked about finding the extraordinary in the ordinary. Like your experience of binging on Netflix and eating your body weight 3 times over, I'd say everybody has done pretty much exactly the same thing. Layer on a level of drinking as well, and that's probably exactly how most people have been coping with this. You at least have got back to training, and that's one of the reasons why we're doing Off the Couch, to try and get people off the couch. So, but what was the turning point for you where you did kind of pivot a little bit and go, actually, I need now to recenter myself and to stop being selfish and start thinking about the outside world and start finding the extraordinary in the ordinary? What caused that for you?
Yeah, so it's a complex answer. You know, there's not one thing that did it. But so when I say I was on weight making fights, so my body was in great shape and I was in a great position, and then suddenly to start to be eating very clean food at in small portions, to being able to eat everything in sight, you know, that's automatically your body is going to transform for the in the worst way possible. And then your head, you feel guilty, you feel like you've let yourself down to get into this shape after like 3 days. So like 3 days I was in the best shape of my life, and 3 days after that I was maybe in the worst shape of my life and didn't know where to go. So there's a few things. So I actually have a baby on the way in June, first baby, myself and my wife, so that's exciting time. So we can't dwell on too much what's gone, so we have to keep looking forward to that. A very good friend of mine, Des Ryan, he's my sponsor as well. He reached out to me and said he wants me to train him. So I send sessions to him and his family every day. So I have to physically do the sessions, get up there and get my head into the game to be able to teach other people. So that was one thing. And then just, I'm not one to dwell too much anyway on things or things that might have been. You know, we have to keep moving forward with all this. But your body changing and people asking you to help them out, I think they were the two main things. And the baby on the way that we need to keep positive for as well. So they're the three factors, I suppose. But I'm sure there was more to it, but maybe they're the main ones.
Ray, you're obviously doing Off the Couch for us this lunchtime. It's our fitness show here on Off the Ball. I must ask you about your other fitness exhibition that was published on social media recently. You did 1,000 press-ups in the space of 1 hour. The problem that everybody had with this, Ray, is that this was published on April the 1st.
Yeah, and if you do look back over my social media accounts, there might be one serious post to 5 uh, jokes or whatever. But in like, I can't believe, number one, how many people haven't questioned me on it. Now, but I want to, but I'm serious. I have, and I did do it, if you believe me or not. But I I know there is a good few that have questioned me on it, but not as many as I definitely thought. And I've challenged a lot of people to it, and to my knowledge, no one has done it. The closest, some guy online on Instagram, I think it was, and I think he's from Scotland. I think he got 907 was the closest he got. Um, the average is probably 500 to 700 what people are coming in, and I don't think I got the respect I did when I launched it first. I think it took people to try it and do it, and then say, "Wow, that was a challenge."
So it's 17 push-ups every minute for 59 minutes.
Yes.
And you posted a picture of yourself there on social media as well afterwards. It looks insanely tough, or it sounds insanely tough, I think.
Like, if you see that picture, if you can look into my eyes in that picture, you can see there's hurt, there's pain, I've went through hell in that hour to get there. And it was just unfortunate that it had to be April the 1st that I posted it. I feel like the boy that cried wolf. I think it's coming back to bite me here now. But I've been talking to a friend of mine, and I think this is a challenge that I've set out that no one has done over the last week. And I think I do need, so being in the public eye, I think I do need to prove myself. I think it's only fair that the amount of people that have tried I could have thought of this challenge on my head and just sent it out to people and made them go through pain. But I think people want to see me going through pain as well. So I think I'm going to do it live maybe next weekend, and I'm going to figure out the best way of doing it. And maybe if I can, I might add a charity or two to it. Just people need to see me in pain. I want to be able to show that I'm not a blackguard full time, and I think we can have a bit of crack with it.
Well, we could stream it for you.
Absolutely.
We
could stream that for you, Ray.
I do need to prove myself, because even Joe from yourselves and Off the Ball, he rang me about doing a workout for Off the Couch, and he said, "You did that 1,000 push-ups. Was that April Fool's? Was it?" He questioned me on it straight away. So I need to clear my name, and hopefully I can do it again.
Help.
Hopefully I can do it again.
I feel it's the least we could do, Ray, having blackguarded you the way that Nathan Murphy did when he didn't put you on Mayo's Mount Rushmore. I thought it was, as so many of your colleagues in the boxing world pointed out, boxing is a sport that takes place all around the world. You rose to being the best in Ireland. You rose to being the best in Europe. That is surely worthy of a place on Mayo's Mount Rushmore.
Best in the world in 2008.
I mean, come on, Nathan. What are you thinking?
Where's Nathan? I have him here. He is 4 footballers on that list. Surely there has to be some room. Mayo is a great county of athletes, of Olympians. We have all sports here at the top level, and he picks 4 footballers, 3 GA footballers and a soccer player who did all his achievements while earning money. Whereas the rest of them were amateur. I was amateur when I did my winning. So surely I have a shout somewhere.
I would agree with you, Ray. I'm on your side on this one, actually. Who are you taking off?
I'm not sure. Cora and Liam McHale definitely to stay on. Kieran McDonald is probably the biggest icon in Mayo GA history with the green and red. Kevin Kilbane is a very good friend of mine, but I don't think he misses out on the criteria, as he was a professional athlete. He was doing it as a job, not for maybe the love of it or for a sport, whereas the rest of them were. Now, I don't know, do I want to take him out either, but I'm not going to take him out because I'm not going to be controversial. I think he's definitely deserving of it, but I think there's questions to be asked. But to my detriment, I'm not finished yet. I have a little bit left in my career, and maybe when it's done, I might be able to replace some of them. But at the minute, I'm going to leave it as it is. but I'm going to put a question mark on Kevin Kilbane.
You're coming for Kilbane's spot.
I'm coming for his spot, but he's safe for now.
I mean, Ray, if you wanted to come for Nathan Murphy in particular, it would be a bit unfair to organise a white collar boxing fight. Nathan was going to do white collar boxing one time, but he injured his ribs. Rib injury is one of those ones where they don't actually X-ray you because they say there's no point. You're just going to get better with it. So you can't verify if it's true or not. Is really my point. But he pulled out of the. It would be unfair to put you in the ring with Nathan Murphy. Although, I mean, I would definitely pay $9.99 per view.
It wouldn't be too unfair. If we could get a vote on that, do you know what? I'd rather do that live than the push-ups. To agree with him.
Well, as a great leveler, Ray, would be you to do your 1,000 push-ups, then get into the ring with Nathan Murphy. That would probably level the playing field.
I've been honest with you, I'd be the severe underdog after that, definitely, because it took me 3 or 4 days to come back to myself. I was having nightmares sleeping after these push-ups. It was an insane hour. I can't even explain what it was like. Kneeling down, looking at your clock, every second ticking over, and doubting yourself constantly to get these push-ups in. It was horrible. But I'm willing to do it again to prove myself, as I do, and I want to raise a few pounds for a worthy charity that will maybe benefit from it. So.
Well, let's try and organise that. We can broadcast it on all our channels, and you can promote whatever charity you think is the right one to do. Ray, this has been great. The off the couch is great, and I'm glad that it helps. That you helping people is helping you as well, because I think that's kind of what needs to happen. Everybody kind of needs to help each other at the moment if we're all going to get through this together. Always great to chat with you, Ray. Stay well. Thanks a million for joining us this morning. We'll talk to you.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Right, that's Ray Moylette. Always a pleasure to have on the show. What are we at? 9:46 this morning here on OTB AM. Our player ratings are back in a moment, where we're looking at season 3 of Better Call Saul. First, though, we've been working with the final year journalism students in DCU. About a month ago, they caught up with the Dublin footballer Michael Dara McCauley to talk about the work that he's been doing in the north inner city of Dublin. This is a report by Elizabeth Malloy, Katie Lowry and Johnny Lynham. Have a look.